Welcome, 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 everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We are the Nest Egg Builder. We'll have a book coming out later this month called, what is it called? It's called Build Your Nest Egg, Discover the Magic of Money and Investing. So it'll be very fun. It's a very basic book for parents to read to their children. I did the best I could to dumb it down, and I just couldn't get it dumbed down enough. So I'm working on figuring out how to do a children's book. So all input will be welcome on that. I have the first 2 pages of that book started. So I got it really dumbed down. And because our speaker canceled yesterday, I decided I would come on. Not that I had a choice, but it's always fun to participate with you all. And I think we're going to do a participation. And it's basically going to be based on the mastermind that we've started. The mastermind is teaching people who haven't invested or maybe who have and have made some mistakes to invest in a better way. We teach them, they get to learn how to do their due diligence. And it's an 8-week course. And we go through a lot of things like budgeting and then looking at like David's 10 units or looking at self-storage. So all different kinds of assets for them to create their own list of what they need to know. And then we go through, well, what's missing for you? And we'll do that for several weeks, plus much, much, much more. So today, what I'd like to do, because I have all you brilliant people on who have been investing for years and years and years, is to ask each of you, when you are looking at something, what what do you look at? What, do you have a list? So try not to give you too many questions at a time, but do you have a list that you use? Do you use a different list for different asset classes? And what has you determined that yay or nay, for instance? So I asked, most of you come on, but I did ask David if he would come on. So I'm going to start with David. And then I want to hear from Stephen because Stephen is not particularly a real estate investor, but he invests in other things. So I don't think he got his shark yet, but that's an inside joke like that. So David, when you're looking at a property, do you have a due diligence list you use?
Yes, absolutely. So first things first is location, and what can I do with that location moving forward on an investment property? So the due diligence wise, if I don't know the area, like when I first started looking in Florida, I did a lot of research as far as a specific zone, zip code, if it's A, B, C, or D, how could that affect my income, and what strategies I need to do to find the right location, management, if it's going to be a good property to hold, flip, those kind of things. What it's going to cost to replace or fix the unit as well, that kind of thing, and the demand obviously for income.
Okay, Lisa went away. So you said A, B, C, D. And for those who don't know what that is, would you take a minute and explain the ABC? We don't like D, but
Yes,
D,
yes, I'm
D,
sure.
D in the age of the building's okay. D in the neighborhood's not so hot.
Right, right. Yeah. So the categories that I mentioned, the A, B, C, D, is in reference to the location. So A is obviously the best location, highest rents, things like that. Then B just below that, C working class, and then D obviously the more issues possibly, those type of things. And I'm sure Chris probably could clarify those things as well. But those are important to know, for your property, and obviously for the future of when you want to sell the property, things like that.
Thank you, David. That's great. So, Stephen, you invest in a lot of different kinds of things, I believe. Do you have like a particular due diligence list that you use? I think you're still muted.
I am, yes. So yes, but it just the first thing is really the investment. So if we like the investment, then we'll go down from there. So all the way down, the last part of it is really the due diligence on the paperwork side from the standpoint of the contract. So it's really getting to know the owners, the people, the product, the investment, becoming comfortable with the principles and then going from there. So I can't really, and then we just get into the paper minutia of the balance sheet, um,
Numbers? Numbers?
numbers, contracts, representation, um, investor, principal verification. So, but it really comes down to if we like the opportunity to begin with, and then we'll drill it down from there.
So what in the opportunity would, it's, when you're looking at an opportunity, don't you get the numbers?
Yes, but that's really on the top side. So, the numbers are just from a top side perspective, it's drilling it down to representations, warranties, balance sheet statements moving forward. So
But you don't get to see the forward. Do they do a pro forma like they do for
the
real
pro
estate?
formas, yeah, yeah. So we look at all that, but it's really first. I mean, it takes us a while to get to that point. So first, we've got to like it. We've got to like the people, and then honestly, 80% crashes at that point. So then we just kind of move on. So that's really the two things. And again, this is not real estate related. So
Right,
really just other direct investment related. So operating companies, things like that.
sure. And if you're with a startup, then there's even less information available, right? Yeah, so how do you determine on a, and there's people that they only will work with startups, so,
I mean, that's venture, and so it's a different with the venture side, it's just a different beast. If you're willing to lose it, you can look at all their numbers but it just comes down to if you think it's going to fit and work or not. So,
okay, thank you.
but I do have a question. Can I ask Dave?
Yeah,
We are
anybody,
looking for specific to Airbnb, people who do loans on those types of properties. So I don't know if Dave, you know someone down in Florida specifically, but that can maybe be an after conversation.
So you're asking if there's any lenders who would lend on properties for
Specifically on Airbnbs, yeah.
Airbnbs? You know, it's kind of hard to find. I think I have come across one or two people that have done that. I got to dig out and see where I can find that.
oh,
So there's a
Chris,
possibility it could do that.
I have one. You just give me your email in the chat and I can
Okay,
introduce.
will do. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
okay, yeah, see, there's lots of different things to look at, so when you're looking at a short-term rental, that would be really important information. It's like if you're looking at a mobile home park, you can't get a loan on a whole mobile home park, so the owner must carry, otherwise they can't get it sold. So, but that information's super important to know ahead of time instead of getting into a contract and then you can't close because you didn't know. That's why we're having this conversation, because doing your due diligence is everything. And that's one of the questions, if you didn't know, you would ask the owner, well, who's your lender? So I can go to that lender to see if I could get a loan on this. Yeah, Chris, you're up anyway, so
Credit unions love mobile home parks.
do they?
They do, yeah. Local.
Local, so local credit union to a local lender, I mean,
Yeah.
to a local mobile home
Yeah.
park. Okay, well, that's fairly new.
So,
A while. It's been around for a while, I presume.
but with due diligence for real estate specific, we always look at jobs. There has to be diverse employment opportunities within a 2 to 5 mile radius, right from the apartment complex. And then it has, then we look at crime rate, and then we always look within walking distance between schools. We've had really good luck with being really, really close to schools because the people are not going to take their kids out once they're, established in a school district. So usually your residents stay longer. So those are the quick things we do. And then, obviously we look at the building and the structure and everything like that. So, and do a lot of due diligence where, we'll get contractors in to look at the specifics because we do the value add. So we'll look at the plumbing, the electric, we'll bring in a roofer, a paver, an HVAC person. We pressure test all the HVACs and make sure they are what they say they are. Scope the lines with a plumber. So we look at all the lines because you don't want to find a broken water main after the fact because that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. So then we know what we're going to buy when we're buying the distressed apartments, and then we know what it's going to take to rebuild.
That's great. So you're saying rebuild or add,
The value add. So
yeah,
because
you're
usually, a
do
lot of them are
you,
distressed. So, you have to go and basically rebuild the apartments and rebuild the business.
got it. So you're looking at the walking distance from the apartment
Schools,
to,
schools.
to the school. And then you want the schools to also be close to each other enough that the kids could just keep walking to school all the way through. Because parents are off to work,
Yeah.
working in the BC climate.
So every one of our places is one's right next to the school, but the other one is like a block away, like they're all within, like all the kids can walk. So
So do you look at 3 bedroom
yeah, the
mostly?
bigger the better.
Bigger the better for you, okay?
The hardest thing to rent out is a single or bachelor pad or a studio.
Right.
There's a lot of turnover on those. So the bigger the better. 3 and 4 bedrooms, if you can get a 4 bedroom, but I mean 3 bedrooms are great. They're usually once people get there, they'll stay.
Do you allow animals?
Yes, but you got to charge a pet fee because everybody says their animals are great and they just destroy everything. Cats are worse than dogs.
Oh yeah, cats are awful. Yeah. Because they own the owners don't owe them.
They destroy if you have like trim on the bottom, they just destroy it.
Oh, what do they do?
They
Use it
pick
as
at it, they rub it, they claw at it. Corners, they love the corners too, and you can tell because their claws are all over it.
so the owners don't buy things for the cats to crawl up on, whatever those cat things are.
I guess I don't know. I'm not a cat person. So.
Okay. David, do you allow pets at your places?
I don't due to the insurance that we have. It's just been a little challenging. So we don't offer anything with pets at the moment. They could change, but we try not to. So yeah.
Yeah, people with pets stay longer for Chris because of people like you, David, that don't allow animals. So because it makes it harder for them to find a place to take their pet, right? So why are they going to leave? Because they know they can keep the pets there. So do you charge more for a cat than for a dog, Chris?
I think it's $50 per month, regardless. So
Okay. Great. Thank you very much. So Christina, you've looked at starting some businesses and you were going to run those businesses yourself at some point. What kind of challenges did you find while you were investigating starting a business?
Starting a business was well, when I starting a business, I always start with like the core values, and the core values create everything else. The core values are really the seed of the company. And consistency. I think having a team is very important. I try to do everything on my own, and that's not sustainable. So having a team, no, to keep systems in play, but also to um, just like keep consistent, everything smooth. So I'd say some roadblocks that I have come into is trying to do everything on my own. And not believing in myself. So team support system, totally.
It's really important as all the team can work in the same direction. And then when you're looking at team, do you count your banker and your tax advisor as part of your team?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all part of the whole. The because I look at like my banker. My banker is handling my money. That like I want us to be good. I want that to be a solid, healthy relationship. Just like if someone were preparing my food, I want a person to be solid in their ethics. So it's like the same, all connected, just like the body.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks. If you think of anything else, let us know. And Lisa,
Hi, Peggy.
hi. Are you an angel there or just you? Could you turn on your
I
camera for a few minutes?
oh no, angels in meetings.
He's only for
Actually,
meetings. Yes.
yeah. A lot. I'm just I don't have a. We're just starting out, so for us, it's just trying to learn as much as we can with all of Peggy's shows every week, and with Peggy's guidance, we try to listen as much as we can and learn. Um, like we just recently learned about the rollovering of our iris and all that stuff. But yeah, for now we're still trying to learn as much as we can and hopefully start on investing because we're getting to that age where it's almost Angel wants to retire. My husband wants to retire, but we just can't. We need to have something in place because we still have two more kids starting college. So yeah. So
Yeah. And I don't know what he'll do with all that time. Because he's
yes.
always in meetings. Well, Lisa, so do you have any, so everybody here's an investor of some sort running their own business. Actually, people who are investors usually do run their own businesses. Do you have any questions for any of them?
David mentioned earlier about the class, A, B, and I know it's about the area and the zip codes and all that. How do you determine that? Can you just Google it and see? I mean, I'm not sure how you find those. I mean, how do they classify it and how do you pinpoint um, that it's a good location to invest in? Especially, we're from California. I mean, I only hear about certain places because I'm familiar with it, but if it's in another state, I really wouldn't know. And, so how do you determine um, based on the zip code or, yeah, the areas that you were talking about?
Yeah, so there's a couple different ways. I know Chris had mentioned school district. School district is probably one of the best ways to determine kind of a better area. The better schools, typically you'll get better rents, better locations and so forth. Also, if you look up crime stats, also that would kind of show you some of the areas and you want to talk to people, talk to property management companies, to find out more details about that, maybe agents. So there's a couple different ways to understand that process to learn that.
Okay, thank you.
That's really good. I like that. Because when I start my due diligence, when I was looking at properties, the first call I made was to the police department. And I waited till the shift came, the night shift. So that's usually when the problems show up. And my question was, whoever I ended up talking to, and I always like to talk to one of the patrolmen, was, if you had a daughter, would you let your daughter live at this particular unit, for instance? And that was, you might make one phone call and you know whether you're gonna do the second investigation on what you're gonna do. That was my key to whether I was gonna look at that property or not. I want to know what was going on. Now they have a lot of things online, but I still want to talk to a patrolman because I want to know why they're going out. Is it drugs, or is it, family disputes, or is it, just they lost their cat, whatever, got up a tree and couldn't get the cat out of the tree. Stuff like that still happens. Cats get stuck in trees like that. So,
Yeah, I'm
uh,
gonna say another quick and dirty way to understand the areas is rents. So there's areas of lower income rents versus higher income rents. I mean, just kind of a quick and dirty, but just understand that market. That's another way you can help your process.
well, and then you have, I know a lot of people like to go into the BC area, because they really want to work with the working class people. And I don't know anybody that doesn't work these days. There was a time when that wasn't so, that they want people that are working. And so they choose because they know that they're going to also pay because they're always working and they've got family. You have anything to say about that, Chris? Because I think you like that kind of area.
Yeah, if people have good jobs, they're going to pay rent. I mean, it sounds so basic, but it's so true. So the people that want to do like tertiary markets or outside of town, it's okay. But then, if people got to drive like long distances for jobs, it's just you got to mitigate those risks as much as possible. So, and that's a added stress to somebody. That means they're going to need a car, and then what happens if that breaks down, etc.
And the kid gets sick.
Yeah.
And they can't be in school. So my brother, I don't know that he still does this, but he worked with used car dealers and he would lend the money. And after what didn't work out well, he determined he was only going to lend to trucks, to somebody that was buying a truck, a pickup truck, because that was usually men and they had jobs and they needed a truck for work. So that was his determination of, he would never lend to a single mother because they don't get money, they don't pay. So that was how he determined how he was going to lend money to someone that needed a truck. And then the other thing he did, which I thought was brilliant, was he had the before they picked up the truck, he had an oil change. So they all got a vehicle with clean oil, and he had a what are those things called that you can track where the car is, the vehicle is?
Transponder.
What is it? No, no, where you get a track. They don't know it's there. So he put one of those on the car, on the truck. And then if people didn't pay, which sometimes they didn't, he would send some guys out to go pick up the truck. And he said one guy when he was trying to get the truck, well, it was a car at that time while he was still learning. The guy parked like 3 blocks away, but it didn't matter because they had an extra key to the car and they had this, what are those things called? The truck. So that with the last payment,
It's
he
a
would
tracking transponder. So
a tracking transponder. So when the last payment was made, then he would tell the fella to take it over to this garage and get another oil change. And they would take the transponder off the truck and put it on whatever he was lending next, because he learned his lesson early on. You've got to know where the vehicle is until it's completely paid off. So he did his due diligence. He set what his standards are. It's his money, he gets to say, right? Isn't that, and that's true for each one of you, because each one of you is in a different kind of business. And you have to set your own standards so you feel comfortable about it working or not. Now, Stephen is an investor. Christina is working in businesses. You, David and Chris are both in real estate. So everybody has a different due diligence list. Every list looks different. Every question is different. And how each person approaches it is also different. If you're a fix and flip person, which Chris is not a flipper, but he is a fixer, so is David, you need to know how much it's going to cost to do those fix ups. So I know with people that do single families, they use wholesalers, and the wholesaler comes in and says, well, this is what the house costs now. This is how much money you need to fix it up, and this is what the property will sell afterwards. And I've just heard too many stories about the wholesalers don't have their numbers right, particularly in this economic market we're in right now, because the rates keep going up. So somehow you have to get that verified. All that, everything needs to be verified. When you're looking at numbers, I don't know, Chris and David, do you ever have, when you're getting the numbers from the owner, do you get that certified by their accountant?
Go
Yeah.
ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, you can look at the T12s and then you'll know right away. And eventually you get the checking accounts from the business. So you match them up so they'll know right away if they're fudging the numbers or anything.
Okay, David?
Yeah, I was gonna say you need to verify everything. They're trying to sell you their property, so they wanna sell you on,
Yeah.
they're gonna tell you that the property is the best in the world. So don't worry. And this is what it is. No, you have to trust. You got to verify everything. So you're gonna find flaws in whatever they say, no matter what they say. And you do things your way. So you got to verify, do all your due diligence, have a list of everything to make sure it's okay for you to move forward.
Okay, and now some people have told me when they do their due diligence and they're buying, let's say, a hundred or more units, they spot units. When I was doing mine, I went into every unit, or I had my inspectors go into every unit. Actually, and I walked in with the inspector because I wanted to see how people lived. Because you can pick 5 units or 20 units if you want out of 100, but that doesn't tell you how everybody lives and how they're taking care of their place or not taking care of their place. So, Chris, do you
Yeah, we have a team of people with these really long lists that go through every unit and we look at every little thing,
every little thing?
everything. We don't trust anything. We verify everything.
Sounds like what David just said. How about you, David?
There we go. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, every tenant lives differently, so the units are taken care of differently. So yeah, no, by absolutely got to go through every process, have a list of everything you're going through, and the major functions of the property, the plumbing, electrical, the roof systems, all those, obviously first thing. And just how the building's been maintained is the most important. If you get those records, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. And estoppel. So, for those that don't know what an estoppel is, it's a tenant signs a document that says, this is what the rent is, this is what I'm paying now, this is what my security is, this is when my lease is up, or rent, or however it's set up on a 30 day or on a lease. Do y'all get those when you do your inspections, or or does the owner supply them for you, or how does that work?
You get it. You get a copies of the leases. So we do a lease inspection or a lease audit.
And
And
when you do a lease audit, do you do that with the tenant? Because sometimes a tenant thinks something different than what's on the lease.
well, they can think whatever they want, but it's what they signed for. So that's what you know,
So you don't do a separate estoppel. You just work off the lease.
we do work on those because then once we take over, we everybody's got on a new lease with with our company.
Oh, so how do you do that? You just say,
Knock on each other's door and be like, hey, we're signing a new lease here today. We're the new owners. And you have to do that. So,
so you don't let the lease run out.
no, certain people we want to keep, but, it's basically like an addendum to their lease, right? So it's
Okay.
stating that new company coming in, old company runs out. It'll be the same length. They could have an option to increase it if they want, increase the time, they could do that. But 9 times out of 10, we want to we want to have those people either move to a new unit down the hall or if they're going to leave, then leave so we can renovate the units. So,
Okay, great. Thank you. What about you, David?
Yeah, whatever the contract says, we take over the contract, and if there's a clause where we can change the tendency, then we do that. Yep.
You okay? Great. So does anyone else have anything else to add? Or have any questions of each other? Because Stephen's more in the business end, as well as Christina. Lisa's learning.
Yeah, I have a question for Stephen. Type of business that you do, I'm just kind of curious. I just want to understand more of the type of business and then what you're looking for as far as um, running your business or looking for.
I'm actually a CPA, so I'm in tax season right now. So I'm a CPA, but we look for alternative investments for some clients. And then I'm trying to now get into the Airbnb space myself, with multiple units. So just hence my inquiry on the financing side on that. Um, so that's where I'm at. So I'm a CPA by trade. Yep.
Faster. All right.
Got it. Yep.
And he might be open to more clients if you know anyone. And he's in the DC area, though I don't think it matters where the client lives for CPAs.
Okay. And then Christina, I wanted to know also what you do and what you're looking for.
Thank you. I'm a yoga teacher. I own a online yoga studio, a virtual yoga studio specializing in heart health. So, and, I need to fill the classes. I'm filling the classes right now, so making calls, reaching out to people, and that's where I am.
Why don't you put your information in the chat?
Okay.
If we have anybody, we could give that information to them.
So you're pretty much worldwide. I mean, whoever wants to take your class online, you have that option, right?
Exactly. And I traveled around the world, so I'm connected to teachers all over the place. So ideally, I would like to create like residencies of teachers coming to the space and teaching their lineages. And that can be for adults. It's geared for like entrepreneurs, high pressure, time valued uh people. Um, so yeah, there's the reach is worldwide.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that's phenomenal. That asset class, and how you can scale that, worldwide. That's phenomenal. Yeah.
Okay, great. And you've got that right in the chat if you all want to save it. Be sure to do that if you know anybody that'd like to. Now, do you record those and people can pay to see the course? And like you said, entrepreneurs sometimes don't always have the time available when you're available, where they could just come on and pay a fee to do that, whatever it is, 30 minutes, 45-minute course.
The classes are 40 minutes, and so they're easily fit into an hour. And the um, the my mind just went blank. Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
No, so if I have a really busy day, I don't always have time to set aside because I have meetings all day long. So if I just wanted to go on your site and do a course, is there a place that I could just see the recorded and do the recorded?
Absolutely. There's a video library. Every class is recorded, usually uploaded within a couple hours after the class. So if someone didn't want to actually even tune into the actual class, they could watch the video and be like, oh, this is the class I want to drop into. There's also a tier system. So there's 3 tiers. The first tier is just the classes. People can just drop into the classes. The second tier is there's the classes, but the recording also in the second tier. So there's that incentive. The third tier is the recordings, the classes, as well as private sessions are included in the third tier. And that model is kind of based off of Patreon, but it's contained in the scheduling software, which includes lead generation. However, the lead generation um, has been all Google voice messages currently. So yeah, 3 tiers,
Great.
and the recordings are available.
Congratulations. That's terrific.
Wh-
Really glad to hear it.
what CRM and what SEO plan are you guys using?
The CRM right now is it's a Google Drive, and the SEO is it's just by hand. I'm doing it. I did like a free trial with a company and kind of got an idea of how to do
Don't
it. So I just
yeah,
been
don't do that.
don't do it.
You got to pay for marketing. At least 30% of your revenue should go to marketing if you want a successful business. And don't do your SEO by the same. Google changes the game so much on a daily basis that you won't be able. And I did this in my businesses because I own other businesses outside of real estate as well. We sell professional audio video equipment. I own a car wash. And then I also own another company where we do video stuff for people. So and that's why I have white hair and it's falling out fast. But that's why you'll have to. I actually know a good guy, a good service, Realize the Market, um, and realizethemarket.com. Josh, or if you send me an email, I can do an email intro or text an email or whatever if you want. Because if for you to number one, you have to use a real CRM because you want constant outreach, or you're doing a drip plan where you're reaching how many do you know how many touches it takes till you get a customer?
I guess like 80 or something. I
Uh,
heard.
the 80, it's got to be a little more than that. So do you know
Wow.
what your cost of acquisition or cost of uh, how much does it cost you to get a new customer?
Right now it's time, social media.
You should have a dollar amount. If you don't, that's okay. I can help you figure all this out.
Okay.
It should say, well, it's probably going to cost me, let's say, $100 or whatever it is, because you need to do that. You need to have a consistent campaign. You need to have a CRM, a customer relationship management software, because the Google Drive that's not it. It's going to get confusing, and
Yep.
you have to do a drip campaign where you're constantly hitting me in the yoga space, right? For clients and things like that. So when they sign up for your class, they'll get an automatic email that says, "Hey, welcome." And then, you'll get a drip campaign through your CRM, keeping them informed of what's going on for the week, what's the schedule. We're going to try Bikram yoga this week, or we're going to try, different yogas or whatever. So I can walk you through all this stuff. So
A lot of people are using go high level.
I use automateu.co. I've used all those other ones and they all stink after a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go high level's a CRM and it's got a
Yeah.
lot of things built in. I'm told you could talk.
I kept getting blocked by them when I used them. So I dropped them and I went to uh anyway, I used 7 of them and this is the best one I've used so far. So
Which one are you using?
it's called automateu.co. I'll put it in the chat. But And we use the paid version. So,
Oh, I didn't know there was an unpaid version in any CRM.
Well, yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm using Zoho. It's very complicated.
cool thing about Automate You and any, it's so easy to figure out.
But
Anything
that's
to figure
nice.
out.
My company's not that easy to figure out, unfortunately, like that. So are there any other questions or thoughts or anything? If not, then thank you everyone for being here today. Really appreciate it. And we will see you next week. Gary Burns will be on next week, and it will be very interesting to hear what he has to say.
Hey,